Someone coming into my home uninvited with the intent to cause harm will find themselves on the wrong side of a shotgun and two attacking dogs. Now, many people feel that way, and many people take the steps to protect themselves and their loved ones when they're at home. But what about outside of the home? 3 out of 4 crimes happen outside the home. So what are you going to do then? That's where these come in handy. Firearms. Lightweight, small, compact, easy to carry, easy to conceal. 48 states have weapons carry laws on the books. 38 of those states, including Indiana, is what's called a shall issue permit state. That means all you have to do is ask the state to issue you a permit to carry a gun in public, and barring that you don't have a felony or have been convicted of domestic violence, they will issue you that permit. Why exactly would you want to do this? Well, let's take a look. As we already know, 3 out of 4 crimes happen outside the home. So what are your options to defend yourself? Mace and stun guns can be okay. Screaming or yelling might get somebody's attention who can help, but when your life is on the line, wouldn't you like another option? An option of more power, like a firearm? The FBI estimates that 200,000 women a year use the guns they legally carry to stop a sexual assault. 500,000 people a year use the guns they legally carry to stop a violent crime. In fact, just today I saw a story on the news where a man from Florida was about to walk into a bank. He saw the man ahead of him put a bag over his head and go into the bank to rob it. This other man legally holds a gun. He followed the robber in and he stopped the robbery. At the end of the story, they mentioned how this was the second time this person has used his gun to stop a violent crime. The University of Northwestern, in fact, has released a study saying that 98% of the time, just brandishing your firearm, just showing it without even pointing it, will make an attacker turn and run away. But what about some of those horror stories you might hear from the gun control advocates? All these people running around with guns might cause mass panic, mass shootings. These people with the guns are going to commit crimes. You're going to have a lot of innocent people killed. What about that? Well, let's take a look. Fact is, the mass panics and shootings don't really happen. In fact, 80% of crimes defended with guns are done so with people who legally carry a firearm. Some people do believe that all those people carrying guns increases crime. In fact, in most of the cases, it lowers crime significantly. After Florida passed their right to carry law, the murder rate dropped the next year 36%. In Texas, after they passed their law, their murder rate started dropping 50% faster than the national average. Their rape dropped 93% faster than the national average the first year and 500% faster the second year. Also within those first 2 years, all other forms of assault dropped 250%. Accidental shootings do unfortunately happen. About 350 or so children die every year from an accidental shooting. Unfortunately, the gun control advocates like to prop those numbers up. They like to say about 10 to 12 children die a day. That's not really true. What they do is they group together all deaths, whether accidental, intentional, from children, juveniles, and adolescents. This includes drug-related crimes, gangs, and all of that. You can't really do much about some of those shootings, but the accidental shootings you can. If you're a parent, simply show some common sense. Teach your children about the guns, dangers they possess, and that they know never to go near that firearm. Do those with guns and gun permits commit crimes? Sometimes yes, but facts show and studies show that it's dramatically less than the rest of the population. In fact, compared to the general population, you're 6 times more likely for the population without guns to commit a violent crime and 14% more likely that they'll commit a nonviolent crime. In fact, in Colorado, you're more likely to be struck by lightning than you are to be the victim of somebody who legally carries a gun. And in Florida, you're twice as likely to be attacked by an alligator. Harvard also recently released a study that looked at crime and gun control from a different angle. They looked at what kind of crime you have when guns are strictly controlled. And they looked at this not just within the United States, but the rest of the industrialized world as well. They did find a few large urban population centers like Detroit and Gary, Indiana, where crime remained relatively the same. It didn't increase, but it didn't decrease. By and large, though, looking at cities like Washington, D.C., in the 10 years following their gun ban, crime had increased 136%. New York City had increased 93%. In Australia, 12 months following their nationwide gun ban, murder as a whole had increased 4%, and in some provinces had more than doubled. Armed robbery had also increased over 45%. And in Great Britain, following their national firearm ban, violent crime increased in the following 12 months by a third. It was even worse in Russia. Following the collapse of the Soviet Union with tight gun control but no real law enforcement, their murder rate more than quadrupled. With not hardly any guns, these killings were mostly committed just with knives, and that gave a whole new meaning to the slogan that guns don't kill, people do. Even law enforcement is starting to come on board. They don't mind the help of watchful civilians. In 2008, at the National Convention of Police Chiefs, 66% of police chiefs said that they favored an educated, law-abiding citizen having the right to carry a firearm for self-defense. By the 2010 convention, this was up to 70%. They're starting to become aware that even though they can't be everywhere, a mindful, watchful public can be. So, let me ask you, are you going to be that next crime victim? Are you going to be the next carjacked parent with children in the back seat, or the next ATM robbery victim? Or are you going to give yourself a fighting chance?
Good job.